With whose permission did you enter my kitchen? She looked at him with a strict look and said. They didn't have any answer to her question. He remained silent. Tell me, why did you come here? Were you stealing food? The eyes were pointed in surprise. If you have reached my Jungkook's room, will you take my possession of everything I have? She grabbed him tightly by my arm. You may be young and beautiful, but the first right on Jungkook is mine. Do you understand? Lin left him with a shock. If you ever step foot in my kitchen in future, I will break your leg. Tell the one who married to arrange your food and drink. She was talking to him, putting all the things back in the refrigerator, while Jungkook was standing in the door, hearing everything she said. They was looking at the things with longing, his life or dying for hunger. Lin put everything back in the fridge and turned to look at them, but seeing Jungkook behind him, she paused her lip. Jungkook's face was expressionless, and with moist eyes, things started to leave the kitchen. But when he saw Jungkook, he was shocked. Jungkook stopped inside and looked at Taeyoung, and the next moment he held Taeyoung tightly and looked back at the room, pushed Taeyoung on the bed. They were speechless by his action. Who did you ask to step out of my room? Jungkook was leaning on Taeyoung. I was hungry. What hunger? You didn't die of hunger, right? You used to be get hungry. They couldn't understand what he was saying. Don't go out in the future. You have to stay in this room. You will get your food here. Why? In my life, Mr. Kim's sons was not worth even a penny. He said angrily while Jungkook felt his mind was spinning. They stood in front of him, barely controlling himself. So you're the one of my Appa's enemy. Taeyoung guessed in a moment. You trapped me. They held his head in both hands. That knocked on the door. Jungkook went ahead and grabbed a parcel for the one who had. Eat this, and you will get the food again only after 24 hours. He went out while receiving the call. Tears started falling in Taeyoung's eyes, and how many people would have to humiliate himself and his father's enemy. His head was itching with pain. He was also extremely hungry. Taeyoung would have taken here to save his honor. He joined this person's life. Don't know what kind of enemy he had with his father, which he will have to suffer now. They will take out rice on the plate, taking with grief. There was no even a water in the room. Where would he go now for water? I don't know. Who is this Jungkook? Who has me here? Thinking, they now start to lace himself in the valley of sleep, thinking about the time had passed while lying on the bed. They didn't know how long he had been sleeping. They opened his eyes, and he felt someone on his body. It was a touch coming up his thighs. They felt someone touch his upper thighs. So he opened his eyes suddenly. There was a dim light in the room, and the deep silence. Taeyoung's heart beat fast. They sat up with a jolt. Seeing Jungkook very closer to him, they started breathing heavily in fear. Jungkook was shirtless. Taeyoung was scared and stuck to the bed. Why are you getting scared? Stay away from me. The man just turned to stay away. Jungkook made this sit on his lap with a jerk. They tried unsuccessfully to push Jungkook back by pushing both of his hands on his bare chest, to which Jungkook twisted both the hand back in one hand. A scream came out of Taeyoung's lips. I don't like the boy who resists, and I don't like to force. It would be better. Give yourself to me. Jungkook said, holding his face. You're a liar and a cheater. You cheated on me. There is no difference between you and Mr. Kim. You all are the same. They shouted angrily. Lower your voice. Jungkook squeezed the jaw. Be careful. If you compare me with that locust, I will kill you. And you make this locust son your wife? They also replied. The next moment, Jungkook pushed him back onto the bed and threw his shirt away from his body. They looked at him with trembling heart. You cannot force me. It depends on you that you will make me forced to do it. Or do it by yourself. Listening to their heartbeat, Jungkook spread the intense touch of his hand on his heartbeats. Make them on. You have just seen one form of me. Now I will show you a special form of me that no one has did till date. Jungkook was leaning closer to Tae's lips, talking to Tae, lips touching him. He went crazy. Please, Jungkook, I don't know what bad thing Appa had done with you, but please, don't punish me for what he has done. They cried even though he didn't want to. They will have to suffer off what they have done, but for what you did, your punishment is my closeness. He said this while he was leaning down on his lips tightly. They started crying helplessly. Jungkook freed himself from every cloth, and at that moment, Taeyong breathed catch in his thought, feeling Jungkook's body touch him. He crashed his lips under his teeth. Jungkook was melting watching his innocent act of him, and in the next second, softness began to flow. They was very delicate. They was crushed under his mountain-like existence. They was barely breathing. Adjusting himself, Jungkook was now beginning to gently spread the wet touch of his lips on the heartbeats. 29-year-old Jungkook lived without touching anyone till now. He had been married to Lin a month earlier, but he had catched Lin red-handed with his friend the day he had about to give Lin a divorce. But Lin's mother ought stopped him. Jungkook was as sincere in his feeling. He also demanded the same sincerity in return, which was only his. Now, she couldn't restore his confidence as before. Even if she wanted to, she loved Jungkook. Lin was obsessed with him. Gaining access to his body was her first hope, in which Lin had failed so far. Jungkook considered her untouchable, and she was just as crazy about him. And today, Jungkook had moved toward Tae with a feeling of hatred, but gradually feeling the innocence, he became soft, feeling that touch of Jungkook on his body. This time, the soft echo. But there was less pain and more comfort in it. Jungkook even felt more. There was pure. The feeling had become more comfort in Jungkook's wing. With the jolt he absorbed in Taeyong's body, leaving Taeyong in pain. He was spreading his madness on Taeyong and had forget his senses. Jungkook's gentleness had disappeared somewhere, and the whole room was filled with the deep breathing. There were sobs and sobs, which was showing the both of them would become one. Laying Taeyong on top of him, Jungkook started to show the strength on Taeyong again. Taeyong was not even getting time to breathe. Bearing Jungkook's madness, the 19-year-old boy had become weak. But Jungkook's madness was not decreasing, rather they were increasing as the night would passed. Taeyong was not happy about that complete of their accidental relationship, but he was not angry either. Jungkook seems to be him, a first claimed to be a good person. He seems like a savior who could save him and hide him from Kangyo and devil like Mr. Kim. And all this was possible only when they surrendered himself to Jungkook. Then Jungkook himself would protect his honor when he gave his name to him. John Jungkook was the biggest business tycoon whose identity was his name. There was only one Jungkook who can compete with his father and Kangyo. There was the reason why they had proposed marriage to Jungkook after being him married. Jungkook, please slow. They was overcome by his intensity. They spoke in a shattered phrase, at which Jungkook's intensity increased further. He kept fasting his action without stopping, bringing their soul to his lips, and in an instant he would be calmed, and calmed Taeyong down too.